Our gospel reading for the 17th Sunday after Pentecost is from Matthew chapter 21, beginning in verse 23. And when Jesus entered the temple, the chief priests and the elders of the people came up to him as he was teaching and said, "By what authority are you doing these things, and who gave you this authority?" Jesus was teaching. I suppose it's possible that they came up to him quietly in a coffee break. But the general impression is that he was teaching, and they walked in and interrupted the meeting and thought they had every right and responsibility to do that, and they asked the authority question. Now, it's really a matter of questions aren't simply about getting information. Certainly not in the Holy Scriptures. They're about who has authority. And if you were the question asker, I mean, you know the adage, he who asks the question determines the answer. This is very, very Jewish, what's going on here. You probably heard that little quip. I don't know which Woody Allen movie it was, but a character said, "Why does the rabbi always ask questions?" And the response was, "Does the rabbi ask questions?" Well, the rabbi asks questions. And the rabbi expects answers. And the rabbi expect answers that reflect the rabbi's authority. And by what authority are you doing these things, and who gave you this authority? Jesus did not give them an answer because he had authority. And so he said, verse 24, "I also will ask you one question. And if you tell me the answer, then I also will tell you by what authority I do these things." The baptism of John, from where did it come? From heaven or from man? They seem to have gone off and huddled because they recognized this is a tricky question here. They said, "If we say from heaven, then he will say, 'Why then did you not believe him?' But if we say from man, we are afraid of the crowd, for they all hold that John was a prophet." And so they answered Jesus, "We do not know." Right? And he said to them, "Neither will I tell you by what authority I do these things." Now his authority was from the Father. As the Father sent Jesus, so Jesus sends us. That line of authority is very clear. But Jesus refused to give the answer here because in so doing would have been to acknowledge the authority of the chief priests and the elders of the people. And frankly, they have abdicated their authority. They have abdicated their authority because the temple has become a place of they are not serving the people, they're serving themselves. They've gotten themselves, the temple is an annuity for them. They're not caring for souls. And they do not want this economic system disrupted. That's really what this is all about. And so Jesus now goes on to the attack. And how does he do it? By asking a question. What do you think? And he tells this story. A man had 2 sons, and he went to the first and said, "Son, go and work in the vineyard today." And he answered, "I will not," but afterward changed his mind and went. And he went to the other son and said the same, and he answered, "I go, sir," but did not go. Here's the question again, which of the 2 did the will of the Father? You see, by asking the question, he's forcing them to condemn themselves. They said the first. But you and I, as bystanders, we're wanting to know, who does the first son represent? The one who said, "I will go," and then did not. And who does the second son represent? The one who said, "I will not go," but then did. Who represents who? That's the question that we're asking on the sideline. And Jesus gives the answer to us now. Truly, I say to you, the tax collectors and the prostitutes go into the kingdom of God before you. For John came. See, you weren't going to tell me who John was, what his baptism was. I'm going to tell you now. John came to you in the way of righteousness, and you did not believe him. Little sidebar here. He came in the way of righteousness. You didn't believe him. Guess what? You're not in the way of righteousness. You did not believe him, but the tax collectors and the prostitutes believed him. And even when you saw it, you did not afterward change your minds and believe him. Now, last week, this was back in chapter 20, just a page before. A great, great parable of the laborers in the vineyard. Some worked the full 12 hours. They were going to be paid a full day's wages. The owner of the vineyard went out 3 hours into the day and hired a bunch more. And then 6 hours into the day, some more. And 9 hours into the day, some more. And even 11 hours into the day. So those who came at the 11th hour worked for only 1 hour, and they were paid for a full day's work. And you know that they were happy because they had no illusions about what they deserved. This was just a gift. But the longer you worked, the more you thought you'd really earned what you had. Well, no. The owner of the vineyard did not have to give you the work in the first place. That was his choice. We only relate to God by gift only. And that's what the chief priests and the elders of the people failed to recognize. The tax collectors and the prostitutes that Jesus mentions, they're the people who showed up in the field in the 11th hour. They know they don't deserve it, but they are happy. They are rejoicing. You're an 11th hour person. I'm an 11th hour person. We're just happy to have these gifts.